Good morning, Year 1, and welcome back to Mrs. Topman's favourite subject, Geography, Inquiry, HSIE. So many names for this subject, it's a bit confusing. Basically learning about places and spaces and how people use those places. So think of all of the places in Australia and in fact in our whole world, and think of the people who live there. Geography is studying how they live and how they use the place. Maybe they use the climate. Maybe if it's a very warm place, they live quite differently there to if it's a very cool place. Maybe if they live by a lake, like in Lake Illawarra, they live a different kind of life to if they live in a very mountainy area. Maybe us in the Illawarra, where the climate, the weather is quite warm and we have the beach, we do lots of swimming and we have quite a coastal lifestyle. That would look very different to how maybe people who live up near the North Pole live. So geography is studying how different people live around the world and how they interact with the place they live in. All right, Year 1, today we are looking at the place of ICS, Illawarra Christian School, our school that we all go to. I'm going to insert a video now that I would love for you to watch. You might like to play a little bit of I Spy just in your brain with yourself as you watch. See if you can spot some places around the school that you know, perhaps some that you've been to before, maybe the hall for assembly, for example. I also want you to be on the lookout for some people that you know in this video, because geography, like I said, is all about places and people. All right, watch this video now.
What I've seen here is there is a very deep foundation in God's Word, and it's very clear that that is the reference that we use all the time. And yes, we do strive for getting great results for the students, and we are a school and we look after the kids to make sure that they're getting the best education that they can. But on top of that, we also recognise that it's not just about that number at the end of Year 12. There is so much more that's valued and appreciated and celebrated.
Our staff are incredibly gifted at understanding a student's needs from the start. And I see that in all the staff at our school. They're able to recognise what the problem or what the roadblock is and be able to help a student along the path, along the way. The executive and the staff work very hard to be able to offer a wide range of opportunities for our students and a wide range of subjects so that we can hopefully cater for all students' interests. We have programs through our learning support as well to be able to guide students who are maybe struggling, but also students who are really succeeding, and we want to extend as well.
We love our kids being in a faith community, and we love our kids being in a place where they are really deeply known and loved by their teachers, by the other parents in our school, and that they come to school just really excited and happy to be here. So I would highly recommend it for all those reasons.
The partnership that we have with parents really brings to life what we do here, because it's not about growing up children that can recite poetry, and it's about growing up human beings. And so when we partner with parents, there's a constant flow of communication at ICS. We differentiate our programs to meet the needs of the children academically, but we also meet the needs of the children socially and emotionally. So really important part of our role as teachers is to teach the skills of the social skills and how to interact with people.
I love the class sizes. I love that your children intimately know each of their classmates, because They have a lot more one-on-one time. That was a big plus for us when choosing the school. Of an afternoon pickup, what I most appreciated was there has never been that clickiness. I come up the driveway and I can find so many faces that are smiling, and you can go and join any group of mums or dads. I love that about the school.
How did you go, Year 1? Did you find some people and some places in our school that maybe you know? Well, what I want you to do today is we're thinking about the Illawarra Christian School as a place in the Illawarra. So I want you to get in your head a bit of a bird's eye view map. A bird's eye view is if you imagine that you were tweet, tweet, a bird, and you were flying over our school looking down, because you're up high flying in the sky and you're looking down at the school below, what would you see? What would the school look like? Let's think. If Mrs. Topman stands in the collar and she looks straight across at her classroom, I wonder if I would see the same thing or the different thing, or a different thing to if I was a bird flying over the top of the roof of the collar looking down. We call that perspective. Depending on where you're standing and which direction you're looking, you will see a different thing. You will see a different perspective, we call that. So we're thinking about a bird's eye view perspective today while we draw a map. I want you to draw a map in your holiday learning book or on a piece of paper, and take a photo when you're finished for me or Mr. Jones for Seesaw. I want you to draw a map of the Illawarra Christian School. So have a think, if you were a birdie flying over the top, what sort of shapes would you see down below? Mrs. Topman's going to have a go, and then I'd like you to go and have a go, and I'd love to see your map. Okay. I'm thinking, I'm a bird. I'm going to fly over the collar, and the collar will look a bit like a rectangle. So I'm thinking in terms of shapes, 2D shapes. All right. On this side of the rectangle, I would see some classrooms. Maybe this is like one green, one red, the toilet block, 2 green. And on this side of the collar, I would see some more classrooms. I'm drawing another rectangle because as a birdie, I'd probably just see like a building, a rectangle kind of building. And I would see like kinder, green, kinder red, 1 red, have 2 red. I'm not sure if I've quite got those red and greens correct, but let's go with that. Up here, what would I see? Oh, I'd see like the playground. I'm going to just do a circle to represent the playground, because remember, again, as a birdie flying over the top, I'm not going to see all the details. I'm just going to see general shapes. I'm going to see like the amphitheatre. Let's just draw maybe a semicircle. I'm going to see some picnic tables. I'm just going to draw them as like squares. These are the seats, like lines either side of the squares. I'm going to see the driveway. Does that look a bit like a driveway from a bird's eye view? I'm going to see the demountables. I'm going to draw them as a rectangle. I'm going to see the infants' playground. You can draw the slide. Some sandpit tables as a rectangle. Some plants as some rectangles. The cubby house is maybe like a diamond or a square. Maybe there's some circular pot plants. I know there's that like ledge thing. And I know there's a big tree. You can add trees because birds, of course, can see trees. They would recognise that as they flew over the top. So I'm going to add my big tree. This is actually, I think it's an Illawarra red flame tree, because remember, every couple of years that whole tree just turns red like it's gone on fire. It's very special. That's a tree that's unique and special. I think it only grows in the Illawarra naturally. Sometimes if you look up at the escarpment, the mountains, you'll be able to spot in just the right season of the year the Illawarra flame trees, because they turn red like they're on fire, and so they stand out. I wonder if you can spot some Illawarra flame trees in our environment. Up here, I know there's the oval, so I'm going to draw like an oval shape, of course, to represent the oval, and the slide, and the bush, so I'm going to draw some trees. Now, your map doesn't really have to be perfect, it's just a general kind of gist. Mrs. Topman's not perfect. I know there's the tyres, so I'm going to draw lots of circles, maybe going up in a triangle. Oh, there's the shed. I'm just going to draw a square over the top of this and colour it in. Shed, okay. I could go back at the end maybe and turn this into a label diagram if I'm a particularly clever person, and label with some writing what each of the things is, like cola, C-O-L-A, infants playground. You might like to do this on your work too, so that somebody who's looking at it knows what each of your shapes are. Driveway. You could even pause the video if you're unsure about some of this spelling and copy some of the spelling. That's a little bit of a cheat, a hint. Oval, bush, tyres, shed. Shed has S-H at the start. Now, shh, shh for shell sound. It's a digraph, 2 letters making 1 sound. S-H making the sound shh. Need 4 classrooms. Oh, there are probably more there. Here we've got what? The library. I'm labeling some of the physical features of our school, some places that you can physically go to at our school. Physically means you can actually walk there. Year 3 up there. I wonder if you know what's more on this side of our school. That's kind of where high school is. High school is when you're in year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11, year 12. You're growing quite tall, you know, you're getting quite smart, you're a bit older. Then you kind of go to school more over this side of our school. So you might not be as familiar. So you might like to have a go at thinking where some of the things in high school are and drawing them in. But if you don't know, it doesn't really matter. This is the main bit that I want to see on your map that you draw in a second. But if you are super clever, maybe you've ventured into the high school before and you think you can plot, you can draw some of the high school parts, absolutely go for it. I would love to see that as a challenge, to see that maybe you know in our school what's over in this high school side. I know that there's the prep, maybe you could add that in. I know there's Ellie's patch, perhaps you've been there, you could draw that in, maybe a circle with some trees or some strawberries just to show that that's Ellie's patch. I know I've forgotten the hall, I just remembered, which is somewhere we always go year 1, for sport and for assembly. So maybe I should have drawn a bit further down so I could add a huge rectangle at the top and label it hall. You might like to add that, H-A-L-L spells hall. You might like to add that to the top of your drawing if you've got some more space. If you run out of space like Mrs. Topman, that's okay. Just do as much as you can. Try to fill your whole page. All right. We've added some of the physical features of ICS in on our page. Later this week, we're going to think about some of the attributes of ICS. That means some of the ways that ICS functions as a school. Some of the things that you can't see, but it's in the heart of people at our school at ICS. But for today, we are done. Your challenge now is to stop this video, go and draw your own map of ICS, take a photo, upload it to Seesaw. Mr. Jones and I would love to see. And then, so fun, if you're at home, boys and girls, or maybe if you have a teacher at school that is going to give you some time to do this, you can go and have a bit of a play at building a map. So you've drawn your map, step 1. 2, you're going to go and build your map with things in your house. Now, let me give you some ideas. You can use your imagination with this year one. I'm looking forward to seeing how crazy your imagination is. You might like to video it for Seesaw. You might like to take a photo, but I'd love to see, after you've drawn your map, perhaps you could build a map out of Lego. Perhaps you could build a bird's eye view map of ICS out of building blocks. So you could build the hall over here, build the library over here, make a driveway here, build the year one rooms. Yep, take a photo. You might like to use Play-Doh to model a bird's eye view map of ICS. You might like to use your teddies and your dolls. Now, this is what Mrs. Topman would do, because when I was your age, I used to love using my whole room, so my whole bedroom, and turning it into I used to turn it into like a hospital or a restaurant. The whole room would become this, and I would use, my bed would be like the kitchen, and I'd get my dolls and I'd get my teddies. They would be like my guests or my restaurant visitors or my patients when I was playing doctor's office. Or I might turn my whole class into a classroom. I wonder if there's any girls and boys out there who play schools like I did all the time when I was little. I want you maybe to turn your whole bedroom into ICS. Maybe your bed could be like the hall, because that's like a really big feature of ICS. Maybe the mat on the floor could be the cola. Maybe you could move some things around to maybe have a box like that represent the year one classroom. Maybe you could have a book, because remember, bird's eye view, they fly over the top, they see mostly 2D shapes. Maybe this lying flat could represent the infant's playground. Then you could put your teddies and your dolls out as if they are students around ICS, and then you might take a video on Seesaw of giving me a tour around the room of your model of ICS. I cannot wait to see how creative you get with this year one. So your 2 jobs today are, when you finish this video, draw your map of ICS, put it in your Seesaw, take a photo, upload it to Seesaw. Job 2, build or model or play some kind of map at home of ICS. So you could use Play-Doh, Lego, teddies and dolls, and you can either video that and do a little tour, or take a photo of that and also put it on Seesaw. So 2 things for Seesaw. So fun. Kids at school, you might like to go with your teacher for a walk around ICS before we map it, to get a fresh image in your memory of where things are at ICS. Kids at home, you're just going to have to use your memory, and I will understand when I mark it. Some things might be out of place, but that's okay, because you're not actually there able to see it. You're using your memory, and that's very clever. All right, you one, have fun. I hope this is a lot of fun for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you get up to on Seesaw.